tired of the rat race, tired of the weather, tired of just surviving and not living. And to be honest, I wasn't sad or depressed, but I just felt like I wasn't living a fulfilled life. Like I was just going through the motions, and I knew life had to have more than just that. And so I had an awesome opportunity to come to Ghana last year.
From the Ministry of Finance, which is yet to be carried out, hence the need for the Ghana Revenue Authority to revise the implementation date following some fresh engagement with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Energy.
The spotlight is firmly on the growing threats of plastic pollution in our oceans, and Ghana is now considering a full ban on plastics. But just how serious is the plastic pollution menace here in the country? Let me...
Welcome back, guys, to another interesting episode. At this juncture, may we all connect our spirit, our soul, and our body to the one and only great national anthem in the continent of Africa, from the Republic of our dear, beloved motherland, Ghana. DJ, over to you. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. Won't see defeat forever, the hope of freedom and of rights. Fill our hearts with true humility. Make us cherish love and honesty, and help us to resist the oppressor's rule with all our will and might forevermore. And help us to resist the oppressor's rule with all our will and might forevermore. Thank you, guys, and welcome back once again. And I know sometimes it's very difficult for us to remember the oaths and the pledge we have with our great national anthem from the motherland, Ghana. And yes, at this juncture, at this point, I want to crave your indulgence, your presence, your heart, your spirit, your soul and body. Let's head over to the motherland, Ghana, and see what the government and the leaders have for us based on what it is for our taxes and the ban of plastic. Every T, every details is well explained and simplified to our knowledge, our exposition, and our understanding. And before then, do not forget to hit on the like button, share this video, and stay subscribed if this is your first time here. Haven't said all this and haven't done all this, come, join me. Let's head over to the motherland, Ghana, to see exactly what is up, updated, and trending.
Ghana TV so and now we ego so number one channel and news ekoso any the eba ebo oman no ye ko ne ko hwe no pa na so so na ye abram na mehu na mate nsem ekoso any the eba ebo oman no na emo nsem ni bo ho a na che se emu edu e de mayen se ye bet na se na ya ka di amamont no mo amko e wo tie nsem ekoso any the eba ebo oman no na se ye ba ni e ka ho ye beso so e di ama ya hwefo.
From the Ministry of Finance, which is yet to be carried out, hence the need for the Ghana Revenue Authority to revise the implementation date following some fresh engagement with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Energy. So consumers may have gotten the relief now, but maybe could be paying more from June 16, 2025. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies have maintained that implementing the 1 Ghana cedi levy on fuel will move the average price on every litre of petrol from 11 Ghana cedis to 13 Ghana cedis.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies has described the decision to defer the implementation of the levy as a prudent move. Chief Executive Dr. Rarda called for continued dialogue and stakeholder engagement to ensure the smooth implementation of the levy in the future.
When we met the minister, we made him aware of the challenges that we foresee happening. And as a matter of fact, because we did not want to necessarily give a burden to the consumer, like Raleigh said, we laid three different, I would say, proposals. That, first of all, will even make the government gain enough revenue as is expected, and also prevent any, I would say, turmoil within the sector. One of the main reasons why we could not implement this, let me throw more light into that, is the fact that, for our members who are on cash and carry, what this meant was that yesterday they had to raise millions of cedis to prepay the tax. something that people don't know. And then when they are bashing the agencies and stakeholders by saying when fuel price was 17, we were quiet. Now just one city we are complaining. When the commodity increases, it's a different thing altogether because you pay after selling, right? But there's a credit facility. But when you are paying the tax for GRA, you need to prepay before you lift. So where were you going to get that 4 million, for some it was 9 million cities, yesterday to prepay the tax today in order to lift?
Well, tax consultant Francis Timoboy joins me on Zoom to discuss this. Hello, Francis. So your thoughts on how this is playing out and what are the likely short to medium term fiscal impacts of postponing the implementation of this new levy by 1 week, considering the government's repayment objectives?
I think what we saw yesterday was some level of breakdown in communication and coordination between the Ministry of Finance and GRA, and then also the OMCs. Whilst the Ministry and the GRA were looking at fiscal agency, the OMCs were more concerned with operational readiness. So they initially rejected it, but kudos to the GRA, they were able to quickly rally and re-engage, for which reason we are seeing the postponement to 16th of June, which is the next pricing window. On the short term or 7 days impact, on the back of the envelope calculation, I think the government said they were going to, look at 5.7 billion cedis, which is equivalent to how much latest we consume from now to maybe the end of the year. So on a daily basis, that gives you around 27 million latest. So potentially losing about 27 million cedis a day, and for the 7 days, you could do the calculations. And so for me,
and for any for and some I also any the about or money medical edit no and out of information share I made the April also with you now in the air cost on a moment 7 for just a more don't you can with you near to us
equivalent to how much latest we consume from now to maybe the end of the year. So on a daily basis, that gives you around 27 million latest. So potentially we're losing about 27 million cedis a day, and for the 7 days you could do the calculations. And so for me, I think that it is better to ensure that there is proper compliance than to rush the decision. Normally when taxes are introduced, you give the collectors some time to be able to ensure that they comply with the system. So it's good that there was some engagement, and we hope that it continues. Maybe in future we should ensure that we do the engagement before we saw the two letters flying back and forth.
Well, so how might this new levy affect fuel pricing mechanisms? I'm asking because we are told the 1 cedi charge is on the consumer, but then we're hearing the OMC say they're going to be paying more than 1 cedi. Explain to us.
No, David. So you see, this is a flat tax, and so 1 cedi, no matter what, it's likely to increase the pump price. The flat amount does not depend on the other variables that determine pump price. The good thing is that the government has been able to keep the dollar, which is the primary currency, under control. And so the danger then becomes if the cedi begins to, lose its value and the crude price on the world market also begin to go up. Certainly then consumers are going to bear the brunt. Prices of the commodity is going to go up at the pump. But for now, we can say that the cedi is likely to keep the price at the pump within an average of the price that we used to pay when the cedi was around 15, 16 cedis. Otherwise, we should be prepared to pay more when some of the variables that determine the pump price begin to, lose their value.
Wow. So it's been postponed to June 16. Then we expect that the taxes will kick in. When it comes to compliance, what challenges do you foresee?
Well, for fuel, commodities like fuel, we do not foresee much challenge. We heard people saying that there's potential smuggling, but in Ghana we don't experience much smuggling like other commodities. So that is why potentially the government decided to go for fuel as a short-term measure, an easy tax to collect. So if the OMCs are able to program their systems to ensure the compliance by 16th of June, I think that we're going to have a smooth compliance measures. Like the chief executive officer was saying, in some cases you even have to pre-finance. You pay the amount in advance before you lift. So the government is assured of a constant revenue, and compliance may not be too big as we see in other tax types.
Yeah, and how effective is this new charge? Do you anticipate the government is going to impose some more levies? Mind you, Ghanaians are already complaining. You took away some levies and then you're imposing some others.
No, that's for that one. It's. I mean, I haven't seen any government that comes that says that they will not impose taxes, but I can say that this particular tax is, you can call it a necessary evil. If you look at the way we have all sat quiet for the energy sector to be such a financially unstable, I think that we can see some reasons that yes. Legacy debt must be paid. But having said that, obviously for the next 4 years or 8 years, certainly government will come up with different tax policies, and this may not be the last.
All right. Thank you so much, Francis Timoboy, tax consultant. Always appreciate your analysis on tax issues. You're watching The Marketplace. Now, the total amount of money the Bank of Ghana spent last year in managing currency in circulation and printing went up marginally to hit 1 billion cedis. There's more on this as well as other cost components incurred by the central bank last year.
The increase in the currency expenses for last year was influenced by a spike in the cost of printing notes and coins by the Bank of Ghana, which rose from 675 million cedis to 986 million cedis. However, legal claims against the Bank of Ghana had reduced from 117 million cedis in 2023 to 107 in 2024. These are cases brought against the bank from some staff over wrongful dismissal, land litigation, and housing issues. The 2024 financial statement showed that monies the Bank of Ghana earned from penalties against financial institutions went up significantly to 161 million cedis. But a careful look at operational cost may raise some concerns. Thus, the staff cost at the group, that as the Bank of Ghana and its subsidiaries, has risen by some significant margin to 2.9 billion cedis ending December 2024. Staff loans, on the other hand, stood at 1.6 billion cedis. In 2024, the Bank of Ghana spent 14.4 million cedis in importing foreign currencies to meet the needs of businesses and banks.
Ghana for ETF any obi biara aha Ghana tips wonderful snowy any. I was information say magia akonye die no we say ai ensem no edos ye pa eno na me de airboy say one so no eno any nipa. I was for intempa no di mechie na ensem bia ewo ho ana say bia ekoso ewo my Ghana no say memfa enso di mechi.
Turn our focus to the government proposal to ban plastics in Ghana. And as the United Nations opens the Global Oceans Conference in France, the spotlight is firmly on the growing threats of plastic pollution in our oceans. And Ghana is now considering a full ban on plastics. But just how serious is the plastic pollution menace here in the country? Let me paint a picture of the situation for you with the graphics you see here on the screen. And you see key environmental initiative. The president there is actually proposing a ban import and production of a styrofoam, which means we cannot produce nor import that particular product. And instead he's saying also that they will ban wooden chairs in schools, and the wooden chairs will be replaced with plastic desks made of plastics. Now, how is Ghana actually ending the plastic pollution menace? The president is saying that single-use plastic is to be banned. I mean, he announced this just a few days ago. Now, let's look at the plastic usage and the recycling menace as we have it here in the country. And the figures you are seeing there are in tons. Now, the amount of plastic generated every year is 1.1 million tons. That is what you see in the red. Out of that figure, just about 104,500 tons is actually recycled, which means that about 995,500 tons, is disposed indiscriminately. Now, what happens to the plastic that is not recycled? The over 90% that goes to waste, indiscriminately disposed of through littering. So you see many of our streets, forests and communities, you see all kinds of plastic products littering the whole environment. That's where many of them end up. And also you see our drains. Many a time when it rains, you see plastic flowing on the flood waters. But some also burn this plastic uncontrollably, and which means they are polluting the air as a result. Now, look at this particular flow chart here. You see what actually happens to plastic not recycled and its effects. Now, 1.1 million tons plastic is generated every year in Ghana. Out of that, just 9.5% is recycled, which is less than 10% of it. And 90.5% is not recycled. Where do they end up? They are dumped in aquatic environment, in our rivers and the ocean. And the effect is that it affects fishes and the aquatic environment. And also the 90.5% that is not recycled also choke our drains, and it leads to flooding. Now, what has the government done over the years to address this particular menace? You see that 2008, the government actually placed a ban on plastic import and production, which means what President Johndramanimahama is saying now is not new. It first happened in 2008. One would ask, if the ban actually happened in 2008, we are in 2025. Why is the government still talking about this particular issue? We'll find out. And then in 2011, something happened. There was the establishment of the Plastic Waste Recycling Fund. And that happened in 2011, which also attracted 10% of environmental excise tax on imported plastic, which means that any plastic that is imported into the country from 2011 attracts 10% of environmental tax. Then fast forward to 2020. The government also established the National Plastic Management Policy, which is supposed to take a look at the entire life cycle of the plastic product, when it is produced up to when it is disposed of. That policy, as we speak, is in place. But the Auditor General has been digging and finding out what has been happening. And this is what the Auditor General said: the failure to execute comprehensive awareness programs, build capacity, monitor effectiveness, and collaborate with stakeholders led to improper disposal practices of plastic waste. This does not only pose environmental hazards, but also undermines efforts towards sustainable plastic waste management in the country. And so that is the president. He's saying that he's placing the ban on plastic in the country. And so the Mahama-led administration is now determined strongly to end the plastic pollution crisis by banning both production and importation of the plastic products in the country. While environmentalists actually support the move, the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association is pushing back. It's warning a ban could cost over 3.9 million jobs in the country. How they came to that figure, we'll find out. So what should the solution actually be? Should it be an outright ban or an effective waste management system? We'll get all of the answers from our guests this evening. Joining me on Zoom all the way from France is the Minister responsible for Environment, Ibrahim Muhammad. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
Right, and in studio with me is the President of the Plastic Manufacturers, Ebo Boche. He's joining me in studio, and you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Right, so we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll zoom into the conversation and get you the answers. Please stay. Thank you so much for staying with us here on The Probe. I'll come to you in studio, but let me go to Zoom to speak to the Minister in charge of Environment, Ibrahim Muhammad. Thank you so much for joining us. Explain to us what the government means if it says that it is banning plastic production and importation.
Well, let me say good evening to your cherished viewers and also my colleague in the studio there, and good evening to the good people of Ghana. And I think that plastic pollution has become one of the most pressing environmental challenges that confronts Ghana and I guess many countries across the globe, for which reason this year Ocean Conference is focused on plastic, and even the World Environment Day, the theme was, generally on plastic. And what once served as modern convenience, unfortunately, has evolved into a global menace, which we are all confronted with. And it is affecting not just, our ecosystem, but marine life to a very large extent. So there is the need for something to be done. I know that there have been several attempts by successive government to see how we can navigate through the complexities, to a very large extent, sometimes, borders on socioeconomic conditions of people, particularly my good friend who is there, who are engaged in plastic business, and indeed have also engaged a lot of people in this country as means of job creation or employment. But we're way in between the jobs that are created and whether there is an alternative that we can do as a state to be able to, prevent the concerns expressed by my friend in your studio of the joblessness, which may be occasioned as a result of drastically just banning plastic, materials being used for the purposes of our domestic use and even industrial purposes, and also not denying people the opportunity to have the jobs that they are engaged in. And these are some of the things government is weighing on. We are not just going to say that ban them outright. We are also looking at alternative solutions. There is no denying the fact, including my friend and those who engage in plastic business, that it is creating a lot of problems. The understanding is that for some of the plastics, they need about 250,000 years to be able to, to decompose even when they are buried. So it is extremely difficult. This affects aqua life, it affects the marine life, it affects our water bodies, it affects us because a lot of the plastic gets into the food we eat, the products that are created. When animals eat such, it comes with some hazardous substances. And when we consume them, particularly in the case fish, it is going to affect us. So we're all looking at means by which we can ban it, but we're also looking at alternative means by which we can still advance the cause of man's convenience so that we can still do the kinds of things we do, but also taking care of the effects of plastic being used. So understand the frustrations and the concerns expressed.
All right.
But just looking at
Yo, for Yako Abba would say in some essay, or there, and I say,
I'm embracing the unknown and all of the challenges, leaving New York and moving to Ghana. Hi, I'm Rarda Joy, and I packed my bags, donated my entire life away, and decided to trade in the non-stop hustle culture for a more affordable way of living to finally smell the roses. I'm embracing the unknown and all of the challenges that come with starting over in a new place. I'm excited to immerse myself in the foods, the culture, the non-stop social scene, and feel like I can finally make an impact in a place with so many opportunities. Leaving my friends and family won't be easy, but what new chapter is? Follow along if you want to see what life in Ghana is like. I was just tired of the rat race, tired of the weather, tired of just surviving and not living. And to be honest, I wasn't sad or depressed, but I just felt like I wasn't living a fulfilled life. Like I was just going through the motions, and I knew life had to have more than just that. And so I had an awesome opportunity to come to Ghana last year. I spent 30 days, and in that time, I did it from a non-tourist lens. So I got to live in the local community. I got to experience the power outage. I got to experience the heat, and I got to experience what is life with a slower pace, not having some of the conveniences from a paved road to even ordering like Amazon. But all of that was just like, it felt good to say, this is where I wanted to hit my reset button. And it's the best decision that I made. And so, many of you are also saying, so what are you going to be up to now that you're in Ghana? When I was in the States, at some point, I had over a dozen of rental properties, and I lost all of them. And throughout the years, I was trying to rebuild. It was either too expensive or the inventory was low. It was just really frustrating because I couldn't, achieve or rebuild what I actually lost. But coming to Ghana, I see a clear path. I'm able to rebuild. I see that I can make an impact, help people with jobs, help people with housing. And to me, that is well worth everything that I went through just to get here. So if you're considering coming to Ghana, the first thing I would tell you to do is come and visit. Don't listen to me and to other people. You need to come here and experience it for yourself. Can you deal with the slower pace? Can you deal with the heat? Can you deal with not having some of the conveniences that you're used to? And more importantly, can you come with patience? Because Ghana will test you in many ways when it comes to patience. So I will also say, once you come and visit, then put together a plan. How do you see your life here? What do you want it to feel like? What is going to be your income? If you're thinking about doing a business, I will tell you there's so many opportunities. So if you're thinking about leaving the rat race, or if you're considering, you want to know if Ghana is going to be a good fit for you, follow, because I promise I'm going to share with you my entire journey, good, bad, and everything in between.
I just landed in Ghana. If you can't tell by the sweat on my face already, and my friend's about to pick me up, and you already know the first stop that we're going to.
Yes, sir. Big no customer.
This right here is the best meal ever. Top 10 meals for sure, 100% in the world for sure though. Watch his top 10 meals. You have to mix it up, mix everything up. Get the shit or get the rice, get everything. Look at the way I'm sweating, bro. Rice, curry, everything. Makes sense. Makes sense. Top tier meal. Trust me. Look at this. You got the rice, spaghetti, beef, shito, stew. It's like Egyptian kosher, but 10 times better.
We finally went to visit Adon Waterfalls, and this is how it went. So we drove to Ebri up to a point, and then we had to continue by walking because the car could not go any further. It was our first time, and we were going on our own, so the road looked a little scary, but it was okay. So we walked to a point, and we saw this place. Eventually, they told us that these will be rooms that will be open to the public for people to be able to rent them for the night when they come and they don't want to go back the same day. We walked onto the entrance of the waterfalls. When we got here, there was nobody, but we had to wait a little bit. But we checked the place out. They have games for adults where you can just sit down and be playing. And they have this nice swing that you can also enjoy. We loved it. When the guys came around, we started the tour. And they have 2 waterfalls, by the way. We started with one. This particular one, they told us that people would come here early morning and they will come and make prayers here. For this particular place, it's not difficult to access. The going down and coming up is quite easy compared to the second waterfall that you'll be seeing next. This particular place is okay, it has a space where you can just sit down, enjoy the water, or just sit in the water if you want to. You cannot swim like that, but you can stay in the water. But it's actually really nice. It's beautiful. The air is so fresh in this place. You can take very nice pictures here as well. And then we finished enjoying this place and we decided to go back so that we can go to the second waterfall. We were so tired, so we had to take a little water, and then we started heading to the next place. Now, this second waterfall is a little bit exhausting when you are coming back because of the stairs. And mind you, this exercise that you're doing here, when you are going back outside of the waterfall on its own, like when you're going back home, the walk back to where the car is another exercise on its own. So if you are going, you have to be ready because the exercise is a lot, by the way. But the place overall is really pretty. It would be nice if you come here with a group of people. You would definitely enjoy it. And then the entrance fee is affordable. It's just 20 cedis. So we recommend that you visit this.
Welcome back, guys. At this point, we have heard every details of why the government of the Republic of Ghana has actually, in the person of his president, have actually placed a ban on all plastic. We have seen the advantage and the disadvantage and where it all started, meaning that it didn't start today. It's been a thing for the president right from time immemorial of his first term in office, and today he has come back to it. And at this juncture, we have heard clearly why and how and what will be the pros and cons, the advantage and disadvantage, the major essence and reasons behind all this. And as well, for the taxpayers, we have seen every details that have to do with what the government is up and have for us as not just individual citizens of the country, but this will also include every foreigner that is now a permanent resident or doing business, transacting, in one way or the other. You have a connection with the motherland Ghana, and even me as an ambassador, I know that I am also applicable. Yes, so in case you don't know, now you know. And as well, other foreigners' reactions, as we have seen in this video, guys, we have heard clearly. Right now, what do you think? What are your thoughts, your opinion, your input? Kindly tell me in this video and let's have these conversations rolling. Personally speaking, if you would ask me, I would say this is a welcome development, and this is actually what we call a very proactive and a very, very thoughtful leadership and government in the motherland Ghana. I know it might really not sit well for everyone because for every decision and every actions, there must be definitely diverse reception of it, because we are all human beings, individuals that think, act, and relate differently. But our common goal, understanding, should be seeking nothing but the growth, the success, and the development of our great motherland Ghana. And if you are in that same limelight or boat with me, come, let's paddle together, because at the end of the day, all we want is taking the motherland Ghana to the permanent side, nothing but the permanent side, where at the end of the day, when the world will come to see where Ghana would definitely amount to, it will be a shocking wavelength, because as we speak, whether you like it or not, as a matter of truth and fact, every country in Africa, from West, East, North, South, and Central Africa, is actually seeing what is currently going on in the country Ghana, and that is why it is not a hidden thing again. So when the government and the leaders are doing a thing, they are always conscious of the pros and the cons, because the world is watching. The Western, European, British country, they are all watching. They know who is who, and they know what we are capable of as citizens and as leaders. So it's expected of us to do and stand for nothing but the very best. That will not just affect us as a country alone, but as a continent. And that is where I stand, and that is where I come from. Nothing more, nothing less. Like I said, what are your thoughts, your opinion, your input? Because best believe, at this point, we will take this country to the next level and expose it, showing it to the world that yes, when they talk Africa, there are countries, and amongst those countries is the great motherland Ghana. Oshe baddest. Now that is it, and that is that for what we have today. Like I said, leave your thoughts, your opinion, your input constructively and respectfully, and as well based on what these foreigners have shared with us today. Let me also know what you think about it, right? And for those saying, oh, you want to hear me talk live and direct, shout out to Electricity today, and I have showed up like I never left. And please, I always do voiceovers in case the voice is not in sync, right? For those who are always curious, thank you for your love, your support, Your constant engagement here, I do not take it for granted. And remember, we are not perfect, but only trying to make it towards perfection. So your corrections are welcome constructively and respectfully, or if not, like this video, share, and be a part and parcel of this family, because on here you're going to see interesting loads of videos that will keep you glued to your screen on your timeline, right here on the stable of Civic Inspirations. We say it all, nothing but the bitter and the brutal truth, raw and undiluted. Oshe baddest. And with that, I would say we've come to the end of this episode. Like I said, let's talk in the comment section. Keeping it real, happy, safe, and blessed. Until I will see you in my next one. Ciao, ciao. Mwah.